Good evening, everyone. You're watching the Founders Forum. My name is Verikokkos. We have a great show for you guys tonight. Today's topic is Palantir and Peter Thiel. So, I guess we'd start with the concerns of government contracts and, their reach in surveillance. So basically, they signed a lot of deals with the government or government agencies like ICE or the Department of Defense, basically help out with the immigration deportation progress. And they had lawmakers back in June. 10 lawmakers back in June send letters to Palantir, basically asking about the details of those contracts and stuff, because if you look at their surveillance reach, basically they can find anything about anybody whenever they want. It's there's conspiracies that they're building a massive surveillance system that tracks citizens extensively, even perhaps without their knowledge, which obviously that's been a concern for a while, but it's mainly with this company. This is through social media, government databases, private sector data. Of course they always say it's to help, monitor behavior or risk, or to predict risk, and this is mainly with criminals. But if you're going to use it with everybody, then it's a privacy concern. And then of course, so basically they monitor everything you've said, anything you've done through the phone, through the microphones or your camera, which is always available to them, by the way. The law enforcement can easily go to them with a certain person in mind. They can find pictures, videos, and this is stuff that's not released to the public. It's not on the social media platforms. It's just on your phone, which they always have access to. They can see what you're doing right now, what you said 10 minutes ago. Their reach is it's crazy. This also includes anything you've put into your emails, text messages, snaps. They see what you search up on Google. They know what you like on Twitter and Instagram. They know where you go on GPS, using geolocation. They have access to your bank account, which basically means they can, freeze your money at any given time they want to. They can decide that one day you're under investigation. They freeze your bank accounts, steal all your money or preserve it. They say preserve, but it's getting stolen. And of course you go to them and they don't give you an explanation, and then you never see your money again. So that's basically that. They can put anybody under investigation without a reason, and they don't have to tell you that because it's the government. What else? So basically, and of course there's nothing you can do about it because it's not like you take them to court. You're going against the government, so you're never going to win that. It just kind of stinks because when this world in a few decades is run by AI, that basically means all this information is going to be out there when there's a software breach. All these people can see everything that you do and stuff like that. Of course there's this whole conspiracy with JD Vance. And of course everything about JD Vance is fake. His story is fake, his name's fake. He had he's on his third name right now. JD Vance was not his original name. It's his third name. But yeah, basically they just use their wealth to influence politics. Basically JD Vance is their man in politics. They influence the people to get him into office, so that way JD Vance can basically set the road for Palantir to get all their laws that favor them into action, and they said there's conspiracies with Trump too, but it's mostly just JD Vance. What else? So they influence politics behind the scenes with wealth to influence they influence the candidates, political clauses, institutions, in ways that basically outline their ideology. It's most likely to shape the country in a way that they can have more of a grip on society. Because and if you look at if you can easily look at a company like no like a movie like 1984 where they have the company like some I forgot what it's called. Something Instinct, like Instinct. I don't know. I forgot what the company's called, but it's just they basically rise their power through government funding and politicians, and maybe they'll cause like a world catastrophe, or like a world event or something, and they can swoop up and set one law into action that'll give them some reach. We'll see more government funding, and then eventually there is no government. It's all being run by one single company. So that's basically what we could see with Palantir. And it's not just Palantir either. It's all these other things. And and if you look, behind Palantir, you'll see Peter Thiel, who has a major, influence in politics because he's connected to a lot of politicians. It's not just the Trump campaign that they, influence. It's all of them. All the campaigns that basically favor them and will set laws into action that will give them more reach on, a societal grip. That's what they're going to influence, that put their wealth towards. So, that's basically the rundown of Palantir and JD Vance. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.